Okay, so now let's go into while loops. How do while loops work? While loops work with a conditional statement. So a conditional statement is simply a statement that evaluates to either true or false. It evaluates to either true or false. So ideally, your while loop checks for this statement. And then while simply means as long as from normal English, right? As long as. So as long as this conditional statement is true, the while loop continues. As long as the conditional statement is true, the while loop continues. That's basically what it is. That's what it's telling us. As long as the conditional statement is true, the while loop continues. So what is the syntax of a while loop? The syntax of a while loop is simply while conditional statement, which should ideally evaluate to either true or false, which is a boolean. So while conditional statement block of code, we are telling it to do something as long as that conditional statement is true. So what could that look like? Well, we could have something, let's say we wanted to print, okay, let's use a simple increment function, yeah, to get the numbers 1 to 5, like the one we did in class. So basically we will just say while, then we have a conditional statement. What is our conditional statement? Let's say we want to get the numbers 1 to 5. So where do we want this thing to stop? Where do we want this while loop to stop? Well, we want it to stop when ideally the number isn't 5 anymore, when we hit something like 6. So we can, the same thing with for loops, we can pick an iterator, we can pick a temporary variable. So let's call that number. While number less than or equal to 5. But first we have to initiate number. That's the difference between a for loop and a while loop. In the for loop, you can just use a temporary variable within the line of code without having to create it or instantiate it. But with a while loop, if you are using a variable, you have to instantiate it. So while number is equal to, number is equal to 0 initially. So while our number is less than or equal to 5, as long as it's less than or equal to 5, we want to get that number. So we want to print the number. But if you notice, if you run this, let's run it and see. Yeah, so that's a problem, because this would go infinitely, because if you notice, we're never changing this number. The number is always going to be 0. So this condition will never become false. It's true because 0 is always less than or equal to 5, and you never become false because we're not doing anything with the number. The number is just staying at 0. So this program will probably outlive me. It will keep running till basically infinity. So yeah, I have to get a new terminal. Yeah, let's get a new terminal. So yeah, ideally within your while loop, you want to either create or do something to your conditional. You want to do something that would eventually make your conditional statement false. But we're trying to get each number from 1 to 5. So what can we do? Well, we can increment the number variable by 1 each time. So I made a mistake during the class. I did plus plus. It's not supposed to be plus plus. This is in C++, sadly. So an alternative for that is numbers plus equal to 1, like we have already covered. So numbers plus equal to 1 increments number by 1 each time we go through this. So how will this work? Well, initially the number is 0. It checks the condition. It sees that number is still 0, is not greater than or equal to 5. It's still less than or equal to 5. So this is true, and it runs this code. So what does it do? It increments the number variable by 1. So it says number plus equal to 1. So now this number variable that was 10 is now 0 plus 1, which is 1, and then we print it. That's 1. So now this number variable is 1. It goes through the beginning of the loop again. It sees that, okay, is 1 less than or equal to 5? Yes, 1 is less than or equal to 5. So it goes again, increments it. You get 2, you get 3, you get 4, you get 5. It checks here, is number less than or equal to 5? Well, yeah, 5 is less than or equal to 5. So it goes again, and then it adds and prints it. So once it adds, number is now 6. So now that the number is 6, it goes again and it says, is this number less than or equal to 5? Well, now it's 6. So this condition has now evaluated to false and then it breaks. So actually this function would give us the numbers 1, or rather this statement, this while loop will give us the numbers 1 to 6. So if we wanted 5, we'll just reduce this by 1 and make this 4. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have the numbers 1 through 5. So that's basically how the while loop works. Now, to exit a loop early, we use a break statement. Although we do not know if else statement, so we'll probably cover that once we have gone over if else statements as such and such. But yeah, just know that to exit a loop early, whether it be a for loop or a while loop, we use a break statement. And this is usually done in conjunction with a condition. So just understand that. So just remember that if we do not set a condition to make, or rather we do not put in place something to make our loop eventually, or our conditional statement eventually evaluate to false, this will run infinitely. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, so that's basically everything. Thank you.